The warship drifted across the quiet stretch of space like a floating shard of silver. Within its long corridors, a young technician named Liam walked with careful steps. He was a human from a quiet colony that rarely saw conflict, but fate had pulled him far from home. The Galactic Empire had found itself in sudden need of skilled engineers who could repair older systems no one else understood. Liam had grown up around recycled machines and aging power grids, so he became surprisingly valuable to a place that normally overlooked humans. He had expected long nights, broken engines, and maybe a few stern officers complaining about work delays. What he never expected was to become the focus of the Empire's newest royal figure, a young princess named Arya, who had recently taken her ceremonial position. She was known everywhere in the Empire because she represented the next generation, someone meant to bring unity and calm after years of tension. Liam had only seen her from a distance during his first week aboard the ship, but that was enough for him to realize that she was nothing like the stern rulers described in old Imperial broadcasts. She carried herself with softness, curiosity, and a sense of wonder that contrasted with the cold metal hallways around her. Their first meeting had been accidental. Liam had been fixing a malfunctioning panel in the observation deck when the door slid open. Arya had walked inside with light steps, expecting the place to be empty. She paused when she saw him kneeling near the floor while holding a panel dim with power loss. Liam stood at once and bowed out of instinct. He expected her to dismiss him or order him to clear the room. Instead, she smiled gently and asked if he needed help. Her voice was warm and calm, like she actually meant the question. Liam explained his work, and she listened as if the topic were some grand mystery. She asked about his colony, his childhood, and what he hoped to see beyond the stars. Liam was hesitant to speak openly to a royal figure, but she encouraged him to continue, and soon he found himself speaking honestly about his dreams and fears. When she left the room, she said she hoped they would meet again. Liam thought the moment was polite kindness from someone raised to be graceful. He did not expect her to seek him out the next day, or the day after that, until their meetings became almost daily. Arya would find harmless reasons to visit wherever he worked. She asked about machines, wiring, old circuits, and all the strange tasks he performed. Soon she began asking more personal questions, not intrusive ones, but gentle curiosities about human traditions, music, and simple things like how families celebrated small victories. Liam always answered carefully because he knew the weight of her position. She was a princess, while he was just a technician. But the more they talked, the harder he found it to pretend they were supposed to remain distant. The crew noticed her frequent visits. Some whispered politely, while others looked confused. A royal figure showing interest in a human technician was unusual, but Arya did not seem to care. She had an energy that drew people in. Even the most rigid officers softened when she approached. She treated everyone as if their value came from their character rather than their rank or status. Liam admired that quality deeply because humans had long felt overlooked in the Empire. One quiet afternoon, she invited him to the Garden Dome, a place he had never visited. The dome was a circular environment filled with soft light, green plants, and flowing water. Arya called it her favorite place because it reminded her that life could grow even inside metal walls. As they walked through the garden, she asked Liam if he liked being part of the Empire's fleet. Liam told her the truth. He said he felt grateful for the opportunity, but he also felt out of place at times. The Empire was grand and powerful, yet also rigid and intimidating. He missed the simple nights of his home colony. Arya listened with full attention before telling him something unexpected. She said she sometimes felt out of place too. She had been raised with high expectations and endless lessons. She was supposed to be calm, elegant, wise, and perfect at all times. But with Liam, she felt free to speak honestly, without fear of disappointing anyone. Liam struggled to respond, because he never imagined a princess would say she trusted him. He felt warmth rise in his chest, but he tried to keep his tone steady. Over the next weeks, their bond grew. Arya would wait for him after his shifts. She greeted him with excitement that she tried to hide behind polite composure. Sometimes she would ask him to walk with her during evening cycles around the ship's quieter sectors. Other times, she would bring him small treats from the palace kitchens. She said she wanted him to try things she enjoyed. Liam accepted them with hesitant gratitude, because part of him believed this closeness would cause trouble. Still, he could not deny that he looked forward to their time together more than anything else. That trouble arrived sooner than he expected. One of the senior commanders noticed Arya leaving the engineering bay late at night after speaking to Liam. The commander confronted Liam with sharp questions about his intentions. Liam kept his responses respectful but firm. He said he had no improper goals and only answered her questions as politely as any crew member should. The commander warned him that closeness with royalty could disrupt order. Liam nodded and promised to keep things professional. When Arya learned about the confrontation, she became upset. Not angered in a harsh way, but deeply and quietly frustrated. She told Liam she did not want others deciding who she was allowed to talk to. She valued him, not because of his position, but because of the sincerity he showed. Liam felt conflicted, because he understood the risks, but he could not ignore how much she meant those words. Later that cycle, an unexpected threat emerged near the fleet. A drifting vessel, without a clear signal, approached dangerously close. Standard scans showed no harmful weapons, but its navigation system was failing, and it risked colliding with the ship. Liam was part of the response team ordered to board the vessel and fix its failing controls before it became a hazard. Arya insisted on coming along, not out of recklessness, but because she believed every life mattered, even if the vessel held only a handful of travelers. The boarding mission proved tense but safe. Liam worked quickly while Arya helped calm the frightened passengers. Liam noticed how her presence brought comfort, even in uncertain moments. Her calm voice turned fear into trust. Once the vessel was stabilized and guided to safety, the fleet praised the mission's success. Arya specifically credited Liam for preventing a potential disaster. Liam felt a mixture of pride and nervousness as she spoke of him with such open admiration. From that day forward, she grew even more protective of him. She insisted that he accompany her to briefings involving engineering concerns. She often visited his workspace without hiding her intention. The crew began whispering even louder, but no one dared challenge her directly. Liam tried to maintain polite distance, but Arya had already decided that he was someone she could not let go so easily. She told him one evening in the garden dome that she felt drawn to him in a way she did not know how to explain. Liam's heart raced as he listened. He had spent his entire life thinking that people like him existed in quiet corners while royalty lived in unreachable worlds. Yet here she was telling him that she cherished him. Liam reminded her of the rules, the expectations, and the political weight her actions carried. Arya nodded, but said her feelings were not something she could pretend away. She told him she admired the courage humans showed. She admired how he treated everyone with equal respect. She admired how he spoke honestly, even when afraid of consequences. She said that humans often rose through hardship with determination that inspired her. Liam felt humbled because he had never seen himself as extraordinary. He had simply tried to do the right thing. Their bond deepened as the Empire faced a growing crisis. A cluster of transport ships carrying supplies for remote colonies had malfunctioned due to old power units. Liam was placed on a team responsible for designing quick repairs. Arya insisted on working with the group to ensure the colonies received help in time. She brought hope and morale to the team, while Liam provided technical insight. Together, they created a plan that saved the transport ships from a chain of failures that could have left thousands struggling without essential supplies. That night, Arya found Liam on a quiet deck that overlooked the stars. She told him that watching him work reminded her of the strength she wanted the Empire to value. Not power or rank, but compassion and persistence. She stepped closer and said she wanted him to stay by her side, not as a servant or a subordinate, but as someone she trusted completely. Liam felt overwhelmed, because such devotion from a princess felt unbelievable. He tried to step back with caution, but she gently reached for his hand. Her voice carried sincerity, as she said she would not let him slip away from her life. Liam realized then that resisting her feelings would only create more confusion. He respected her deeply and cared for her more than he wanted to admit. Still, he told her that he wanted to move carefully because the Empire was watching. Arya agreed, but she said no amount of scrutiny would change how she saw him. From that day onward, everyone aboard the ship could see that Arya had made her choice. She stayed close to Liam, not out of obligation, but with clear intention. She refused to let anyone separate them with rules or tradition. She treated him not as someone beneath,